My students always ask me, what's the best firearm to carry? My answer to them is the one that you're willing to carry all the time. It does you no good if your firearm's sitting at home. In popular culture today, the trend is usually the semi-automatic platform. Now that's not to say the revolver is a bad choice. In fact, the revolver not only operates faster, but it's usually more inherently accurate. The revolver also doesn't have the manual safeties that you can fumble with during a life-threatening situation, which offers simplicity. In purchasing a handgun for training or defensive purposes, there are three main factors to look for. Every factor is important and none should be overlooked. The first factor is reliability. When you're in a life-threatening situation, the last thing that you want to deal with is reaching for a weapon that's not reliable. As a general rule, what I like to do is stick to the North American and European manufacturers. They generally tend to have a higher level quality about them, and that really boils down to reliability. The second factor is effective caliber. Handgun calibers vary in a wide degree. You got everything from the .22 long rifle all the way up to the .500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. In that spectrum is what I like to call the effective calibers. We have the 9mm, the .40 Smith & Wesson, and the .45 ACP. These are the effective calibers we'll be focusing on. The 9mm cartridge is probably the most popular handgun cartridge in the world for self-defense. It is very accurate and has a potency that is sufficient to drop any bad guy. In particular, it adapts to self-defense as it does not over-penetrate like some of the other duty calibers out there. The available loads lend it with a lot of flexibility, from the standard full metal jacket all the way up to the high-pressured submachine gun rounds. Next is the .40 Smith & Wesson. More powerful than the 9mm, the .40 is designed for self-defense with the added availability to penetrate barriers such as car doors and auto glass. It was created specifically for law enforcement and serves them very well. However, the .40 has a level of recoil most new shooters will not appreciate. And since it's known to penetrate, I recommend only the experienced shooter tackle this caliber. The .45 ACP is a legendary caliber which all defensive semi-automatic handgun calibers are measured by. Due to its much heavier bullet and larger diameter, the .45 is a slow-moving bullet when compared to the rest. While still providing superior energy into the target, its slow velocity allows for less recoil than the .40. Also, because the speed and girth of the bullet, the .45 does not commonly over-penetrate. While useful to most level of shooters, I caution the recoil sensitive to get overzealous and choose this powerhouse as their first handgun. From here it gets pretty intense, but these are the basics, and that's really the intention of this video. So for the remainder of this video, we'll be focusing mostly on the 9mm NATO. It's capable, it's effective, and it's available. The third and final factor is ergonomics. It is very important that when you choose a weapon, you can maintain a firm grip around the weapon. Choosing a weapon where your grip is squinched, or even you have a pinky dangling off, or something that's not comfortable is not a wise choice. Remember, good marksmanship, or at least half of it, is confidence. And if you're not confident with that grip, you're not going to be confident on your point of impact. Your firearm, whichever one you choose, is a highly engineered tool. They have dozens of parts specifically designed to integrate with one another. Each part is engineered and refined to a detailed dimension down to the thousandths of an inch. Your tool of choice will do its job. You, the shooter, have a similar obligation. You must properly cement physical memory into every action involved if you intend to successfully engage a threat. So let's talk about the different types of actions of pistols that are out there in a semi-automatic platform. You have a single action, you have a double action, and a double action only. So let's review these. The first one would be the single action. Now the single action trigger performs the single action of releasing an already cocked hammer every time the weapon is fired. So I would cock the hammer back and then engage the trigger and it fires. Now if I try to engage the trigger without doing so, nothing happens. So it's very important with a single action firearm that you have it cocked back. If you're not shooting it, you should be carrying it. And if you're carrying it, you should have your manual safety on. That's off.